And a lot of our listeners are aspiring authors and they're wondering or potentially thinking about how to get published. So, what was your route to publication?
And my route was that I just wrote and wrote for years and years and years and didn't do anything about it. And I've written several novels that never got published, probably long lost. And one day I showed a novel to my son, and he read it and said, "Dad, you should do something about this. Send it off somewhere." And I said, "Yes, I would," but I didn't. And 2 years passed, and then I came across this manuscript on my hard drive, and I thought, maybe I should send it to an agent. And that manuscript was The Notable Brain of Maximilian Ponder. And I just, on a whim, I sent it off to a few agents, to three agents. And the first agent replied within a heartbeat and said, "No, thanks, we're not very interested in it." The second agent said, "But we will read it, but it'll take us a very long time. Can you be patient?" And I was patient, and I think 6 months passed. And then they sent me an email to say, "We've read it and we don't want it. Thank you very much." And the third agent didn't bother replying. It was just went very, very quiet. And it wasn't until after I'd had my two rejections that I suddenly had an email from him to say, "John, who the devil are you?" And and he said, "Can I phone you?" And I wrote back, I said, "Yes, please do. Here's my number." And he phoned me and said, "Can I try and sell your novel? I love it."
Oh,
And when within 2 or 3 days, it was in one of those giddying auctions, where publishers sort of offer, you know, unimaginable amounts of money for books. So
brilliant.
yeah, that was how I got started. So it was, and I was in my 50s. I never really thought I'd be published at that point. I'd sort of given up hope of ever. Well, I say I'd given up hope, but I hadn't really tried.
Yeah.
Um, so yes, I
That's
would say to aspiring authors, A, don't give up, and B, don't wait until you're 55.